Hey, it's Mike from Feedline Labs. You probably already watched the first video, which is how to burn in your Raspberry Pi with the proper Linux OS. It's very simple to do. Honestly, you can do it in 3 or 4 minutes once you've done it. So here we're looking at the instructions for the next step. That is to install AirPulse onto the Raspberry Pi. It's super easy now. This is the 2.0 version. Basically, there's a new executable called AirPulse.Updater. It will, on the first time you use it, pull down the latest, and every other time that AirPulse updater is run, it will check and see if there's a new version. If so, it will gracefully shut down your currently running AirPulse, install the new version, and start it back up for you. So on the Raspberry Pi, you can start this up and walk away, and it will self-update and stuff like that. It's pretty cool. There's a lot of stuff in here, support, it's best to use our Discord channel for support. Here's some of the folders that are going to be created for you automatically. There's what we did in the first video, right? Step 1, image the SD card, and there are some nice images here you can go through. They show you how to do that. Now, what I've done already is I booted the Pi up. It's just sitting there doing nothing right now. Now, step 3 is find your IP address, right? Because you're going to need to SSH into it if you're following these instructions. Now, this you do on Windows because you can't SSH into it until you know the IP address. So I can't run this right here, but that command at the very top of the screen with that fine stir, that will literally print your IP address. And in my case, it's like 192.168.1.197. That's just the way it works out on my router. So I've already done that on Windows, and I know that that's my IP address. It's in the example. I'm going to keep everything that you're supposed to be looking at the top of the screen. So see that IP address? That's the IP address of my Raspberry Pi. Now we're going to SSH, step 4, into the Raspberry Pi. Now to do that, I'm on my iPad, by the way. To do that, I'm going to show you something. I'm using this tool, well, I hope it comes up, there you go, called Easy SSH. It's super nice. So far, I've had no problems with it. It's free, and it just works great. So kudos to the developer of that. Let's go over to actually Easy SSH. Now, I've already got my Pi set up. You can see here on the, let's go into the settings. I've got my IP address. It's port number 22, by the way. My user is AirPulse user. That's what we set up when we flashed the Pi with the Linux OS. I've got authentication set to password. I've got my password in right here. I can even show you that. It's just ABCD1 exclamation point. Don't use something so simple. And that's it. So let's go ahead and close that. And let's go ahead and hit go. Connect anyway. It's saying, hey, you've previously connected to this. There's some weird key on there. That's because I flashed this thing like 50 times in the making of this video. We're connected. I'm going to hit clear to clean up the screen. Let's do a dir, which looks at the directory. Let's see what's in there. Absolutely nothing. So there's nothing in there. We're ready. Let's go back to our instructions. We've SSH'd into the Pi. That's step 4. Step 5 is connect or change your Wi-Fi. This is optional, and you don't need to do this most of the time because you want to actually flash your SID and your Wi-Fi password when you're installing the Raspberry Pi with the Raspberry Pi Manager. This is in case you need to change it. Now, when we ship our Raspberry Pis to people, they will just run this one command and set their Wi-Fi password. You can run this curl command here. I'll even copy it over it. Let's do it. So let's run that command. We're going to run that curl command just to check. What this is going to do is just hit the gray line fabric. That's our API to get the latest version of AirPulse. Let's hit go. And you can see the version is 2026.7.4. And that is the date, by the way. That is July 4th. So let's hit clear. And let's go on to the next step. What do we do? Oh yeah, step 6 is simply create the AirPulse folder. Notice I hit the copy button over there. Now we're going to paste that in. Let's paste that in. We're going to make the AirPulse folder. We're going to go CD AI, that's enough, and hit tab. Boom. Now we're in the AirPulse folder. That's where we want to be basically for the rest of our installation. The next step, let's go back and look at our instructions. Number 7, I'll keep it to the top of the screen so you can see it. That is copy the updater package down to your Raspberry Pi into that AirPulse folder. Now I'm going to do it from Windows. I've got it unzipped into a folder, and I'm going to go into that exact folder and run this command. That's the way this command is set up. Now, if you're a guru, you could probably just curl that zip down from our GitHub repo and do it all right there. If you know your stuff, it's no big whoop. But I'll click that link up there for GitHub. This is where our releases go, and you'll see if I go look at the releases. Let's go look at it. Somewhere in here, see it says do not use, experimental, do not use. This is me screwing around, but the updater release is up there. Don't use that yet. It will be there, and it'll be official here in just a little bit. So I'm going to stop the video, and I'm going to bop over to my Windows machine, and I'm going to copy that down, and we're going to pick up where I left off on step 8. Give me just a moment. Okay, I'm back. I just copied the updater into the folder. Let's go look at our Raspberry Pi. And we're sitting in our AirPulse folder where we should be. Let's do a list command against that. Let's see what's in there. All right, so now you see AirPulse Updater. That's the executable. You have a scripts folder, which we've created to help you get a whole bunch done real quick. People used to have to run all these individual commands. It was really not fun. And the service. The service makes it such that every time you turn your Raspberry Pi on, the power it up, it starts AirPulse. So let's go back to our instructions now. We're ready to do something. Let's see what we're going to do. Okay, we're done with step 7. Step 8 at the top, we're going to run some scripts. Step 8 and 9 are both scripts. We're going to run the prep AirPulse, which just does a bunch of setup and does some change mod commands and makes things executable, stuff like that. Let's do that step. We're going to go to OK, and now I'm going to copy that in. Even though it has the CD to AirPulse command in there, we're already there. I don't care. Let's run the script and let's see what happens. There we go. So you can see that did a bunch of permissions type stuff. That worked great. So let's go ahead and clear that so we get ready for the next command. Let's go back to our instructions. Now we're ready for step 9. This script is really important. When you install your OS onto the Raspberry Pi, it burns in some RTL SDR drivers that read your SDR. They're old and out of date. We compile and ship the latest ones, so you have the latest drivers and they work really well. So let's go ahead and hit the copy button, and we'll go back over to our SSH. Okay, we're sitting in the AirPulse folder now, and we're going to run that command, which is going to run the RTL blacklist, let's call it. It's going to blacklist those drivers that came as a default when you burned in the image onto your Raspberry Pi. So let's hit paste. Come on, there we go. Let's hit run. There you go. You can see it said installing RTL kernel driver blacklist. It blacklisted these drivers, and this command here, after verifying udev rule, you'll see it about 3/4 of the way down. You'll see it says, 22838, mode 006, whatever. That basically tells you it worked. And we mentioned that in the notes here. If you look at that command at the top of the screen, it's not a command, it's the output, right? It worked. So now we're going to do sudo reboot. So what have we done? We ran some prep. We blacklisted the RTL drivers because we're going to have our own, and now we're going to go sudo reboot. We're going to reboot the AirPulse and actually get ready to run the updater. So here we are. Let's clear that. I don't know why I did that. We didn't have to, but let's do sudo reboot. There you go. So we're going to sit here and wait a moment and see what we do next. So we're done with sudo reboot. We're going to, step 10, we're going to run the AirPulse updater. So we're really almost done. This is actually pretty easy. We're going to run AirPulse updater. The first time you run it, it's going to pull down the latest release. Every time Updater runs thereafter, it's going to check to see if there's a newer release. If there is, it's going to gracefully shut down your AirPulse. It's going to pull down the newer release. It's going to, first it backs up your currently running AirPulse into a folder, pulls down the new one, unzips it into the normal directory, launches it, and if it gets to the scanning phase, we know it pulled down repeaters and it's scanning, which means it's was able to get to the Wi-Fi and get through the SDR. And then we say, okay, it's good. If not, we roll it back. So we're going to run AirPulse Updater in just a moment. Let's copy that and let's go back to our SSH. Okay, we're sitting here and it has rebooted. So let's do a dir command, make sure it's there. You can see Updater is there, scripts and service folders are there. So let's run the command it told us to. Let's hit paste. Now this is going to run AirPulse Update. Let's see what that does. It's quite interesting. It's going to pull down, it's creating folders. It's pulling down the latest release. You can see it's downloading right now. Now it's comparing the number of bytes that it should have been, the SHA values. It's installing AirPulse.Node into the right folder. The last line says copying new runtime into live folder. Starting AirPulse. Here it comes. Check that out. And if you look up here, I'll scroll it to the bottom of the screen. Sort of you can see it. It says provisioning is required right above the keys. See that? So it ran all the way to that step and said, okay, that's as far as I can go. Let's switch back to my UI now. This is something I haven't showed you yet. Ha, look at that. Awesome. Let's close the repeaters for now. So notice it's sitting at provisioning required. So it launched AirPulse for me. Notice it pulled down the 7.4 release. Let's go ahead and we're going to fill in the settings. We need to grab our device ID, our license, and our lat long, and then we're gold. So let's go to the website. Let's go to the control panel. If you want to get to the website, go to Feedline Labs. Click that link. Beautiful. I was helping someone out in the Baltimore area earlier. So I'm going to zoom in and let's do this. I'm just going to move right in here to my home. I'm on an iPad, so I'm going to do a long press. I'm going to hit copy lat long. Let's go back to, is this the right folder? Nope, there it is. Oh, here it is. I got so many things open. Let's go to our settings, and I'm going to hit paste. Notice it filled in both the lat long and one paste. Beautiful. Now we need our device ID, right? Our license. Let's go to my profile. I'm going to go there. I'm going to hit licenses, and I don't think I can copy this. No, let's go in. You're going to see this, but I'm going to black it out. Copy. We're going to go back over here, put that in. Now, we've got all of our settings done. I'm going to hit the save button. Yep, I saved. We're going to go back to control panel. Now, it wants us to provision. Actually, go to settings. Watch this. Notice in the receiver device over here, it found my new elec already. It knows that my SDR is plugged in. That's a super good sign, obviously. Let's go back to control panel, and I'm going to hit provision. That might ask me to stop. Nope, there it goes. Notice it said state change, loading settings. That actually just authenticated me. After we provision step 11, what's the next thing we do? Step 12 is one final reboot. So we're going to do that. Okay, now we're ready. We're going to reboot. Let's do that. So we know we've got the device provisioned, right? And we're going to come back and continue. And we only have a few things to do, and then we'll just reboot, and it'll come up and start running right out of the box. So let's go back to our instructions while this is rebooting. Run the updater again. Yeah, we could do that for fun. We'll do that real quick, and then we'll install the services and hit reboot, and it's up and running. This step is interesting. I'm just going to run updater again for you to show you what it does. Now on the Raspberry Pi, step 15, I'll scroll up, install the update timer. That wakes up every 5 minutes and launches the updater and will pull down a new version for you. Step 14 is install the AirPulse service, which sets it up such that every time the AirPulse turns on, powers up, AirPulse starts running. So we're going to run the updater again just for fun. Let's hit copy. Let's go back over to our SSH. Okay, we're sitting here. It's booted back up after provisioning. Let's go ahead and copy this in, paste. Now we're going to run the updater. Let's see what happens. It's running. It says the current version is 7.4. It's Linux ARM64, but the latest version is also 7.4, so I've got nothing to do. It's done. Now, if there was a newer version, it would have gracefully shut down AirPulse, reinstalled the new version, and fired back up. So let's clear that, and let's continue with our instructions. We did step 13, we ran an updater. Let's go to the AirPulse service. This is what's going to, and actually this is going to launch. We probably should do the update timer. I'm going to swap that, but watch what this does. Let's copy this in, paste, hit go. And that set up the service that makes AirPulse run every time it boots. I'll go ahead and run it again. You see that little error there? It's not really an error. It's just trying to stop AirPulse. Well, AirPulse wasn't running. It is running now, though. Watch when I run it again. So you didn't get that error. So we just did that. We installed that service. That's awesome. Let's clear. Let's go back to our instructions. Step 15 is install the update timer. This is, like I said, going to run the updater every 5 minutes and check for a new version. Let's copy that and go back to AirPulse, or sorry, our Raspberry Pi. Okay, let's copy the command in, paste. That's going to run that code. There you go. So that's it. That's going to run the updater every 5 minutes. Let's clear that. Go back to our instructions. Finally, step 16, the final reboot. Let's do that. Okay, it wants us to do the final reboot because we've installed the services. Let's do that. It actually really reboots pretty quickly. There we go. Let's go back to our instructions. We're done. That's it. See that? There's some service commands about how to start the service, restart the service, get the status, look at the logs, all kinds of stuff like that. I'll show you that after this. But let's go to our control panel. Let's refresh that. Hopefully I caught that early enough before it's even booted up. Because that IP might not even be valid yet. It's in the process of rebooting, but it might catch it. Let's see. It's so quick. Yep, see. So we're sitting here and it hasn't started. Now, it might actually start up on its own. Often it does. So the AirPulse device is launching. If it doesn't come up here in a minute, I'll just refresh this page. Well, there it goes. Look, we missed that, but it's already scrolling. Let's pause the log there. See, I paused the log. There you go. See, it says state change starting. Look at the top line. Load 60 repeaters. There's the settings I had it set up as. And I'll show you this real quick. If you see any repeaters in here that are in red, that's telling you, if you look at the output values, they match other ones. The SDRs really don't detect tone. So if we get a transmission on that, we don't really know which repeater that's on, and we don't track those. Now, there is a way to do that. We just haven't done it yet. So let me turn off the repeaters. And it's going. So let's hit log, and now it's running. You can pause the log. It doesn't pause the scanning. it just stops the log from printing out. Everything's processing in the background. So now it's calibrating. It's done calibrating. It does that. Oh, look at that. I'm already getting traffic. There's a ton of stuff going on tonight. There is a ham fest this weekend, and I noticed a lot of traffic and stuff going on. So there's a live activity report already in Fort Walton Beach, which is about, I don't know, 20 miles from me. So that's pretty much it. But let's go back to our instructions. Is that it? Yeah, we did it. So that's it. And there's troubleshooting. So we just did the whole thing. Feedline labs is up and running. I can hit stop. I can clear. I can go to antenna to move my antenna around and see if I get a better signal. And one thing I do is on the scanner tab, we have it set for 150. I like to run it at like 60 or 80. Don't go lower than that because you might get inaccurate readings. But if you go to 80, I'm going to save that control panel, and I'm going to clear my log and go. And watch the blue. See how quick it's printing that? So it's scanning all those repeaters. It pulled those repeaters down based on my lat long that I've entered into the settings over here, these guys here. So there it goes. It's up and running and working perfectly. It's that easy. So now I can just walk away from this and let it auto update on its own. Literally, I can just let this thing run for who knows how long, for a long time. Anyway, I hope you guys like that. That's the new way it works. It also works like this on Windows, and it works like this on Linux. It will work like this on the Mac OSs too, but we haven't tested that yet. We'll get one of our Mac users to do that. I really need to either buy one, or there's places where you can rent them and they're hosted online. Anyway, hope you guys like that. Thank you. Bye.